And it was always infection control. That was always what they called the nurses, the infection control nurse. And that implies we're allowing infection to come in, and once it's here, I'm going to control it. I'm going to contain it. Now, finally, the focus has changed to infection, prevention, and control. We don't even want to come in. I don't want to have to control anything. I don't like working that hard, okay? So we want to make sure we keep this infection away, or all infections, actually. So we're going to go back to basics. Really, nothing's changed, whether it's Ebola, whether it's HIV, whether it's coronavirus. It all comes down to the same thing. Wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands, clean surfaces. Keep personal space. We've forgotten about that. We're always in everybody's space. It's okay to step back from somebody to talk. And if we just did this all the time, we would really eradicate a lot of these illnesses that we have. So we're just going to go back to basics, keep things simple. Please work. Thank you. So our core value, one of our core values here at North Hill is that we take great pride in our community and are committed to our standard of outstanding service. And what that means is we're not just going to do the bare minimum, because the bare minimum is not going to prevent things from happening. We need to step it up. We need to do the best that we can be. And that does not mean we're the best in everything that we do. Nobody can do that much. But just every day, do you give the best that you can? I used to tell my kids, you know, I'll give you the best that I can. Sorry, today's not so good. But it's the best that I can do. And we want to do that. So when we're saying, oh, do I wipe that table down when I'm done eating? It's going to take too much time. Do it. Okay? Take that few minutes. It just takes a few seconds to do that little outstanding service. So the next person who's coming to sit down is not sitting down in some dirt. So infections, how do they spread? How do we get them? Where do these things come from? So the first thing we need is a pathogen. We need a germ. And so we're working right now with the coronavirus. That's the name of the germ. The disease is COVID-19, the disease caused by this. So this germ needs to live somewhere. Where does the coronavirus live in our bodies? Anybody know? In your mouth, in your throat, in your lungs, because it's a respiratory. So that's where it's going to live. And how's that virus going to get out of me? If I have the coronavirus in my system, how? Sneezing, coughing, and fever. And just letting you know what the other symptoms are, fever and shortness of breath are things that we're looking for. But yes, when I cough and when I sneeze. Now, this happens to be what's called a droplet precaution. And what that means is it's a kind of heavy germ. So when I sneeze, rather than lingering a little bit like TB might, this one's going to go about 3 feet and start falling down, okay? So this is why in the summertime that the germs die off, because the air is heavy and it gets enmeshed in the heavy air and it falls, it's tired and lazy like we are. So it's not going to last as long. So I know how it's getting out, and I talked about the mode of transmission. It's a droplet precaution that's going to come out but fall fairly quickly. So if I cough and sneeze, how is the germ going to get in you? You're breathing. You're breathing. And remember I said that we need to make sure we wash our hands and the surfaces and stay apart. So we're going to stay apart, so even if I do cough and sneeze, you're all pretty safe right now if I cough and sneeze. But if I cough and sneeze on this table as I leave, then you come with your tray, you sit down, and you go like this. That's another portal of entry. So it doesn't have to be breathed in, it can be placed on your mouth and get it in that way. And germs love sick people. They love sick people. When you're run down, you're tired, you're working 2 jobs, your kids are pulling you here, you're pulling them there, you got going to buy toilet paper, you can't find any, you're stressed, everything is horrible. Germs are like, party, let's go into this body. But if you're healthy, they may come in and hang out for a little while, and they're going to say, this is not fun. So they generally don't stick around too long. And that's why you and I, if we get the virus of any sort, it probably knock us down a little bit, make us feel a little bad, but we're going to recover for the most part. But our residents have a lot of illness, and we know the #1 risk factor for this is people who have an older age, and this is an elder community. So we want to make sure that we stop this chain of infection before it gets to our ill elders. And that's why we don't have to stop all of these, just one of them. So if I have the pathogen in my lungs, how can I stop this from coming out infecting people? When I cough and sneeze, what can I do?
In the sleeve.
In your sleeve, okay? Our residents were taught to cough into our hands. That's what we were told when we were younger. So they need to be re-educated, and everybody can remind them to cough into their arm, okay? The other thing that we can cough into, of course, is a tissue. This is actually preferred because we can throw this away. We can't throw our sleeve away. So cough and sneeze into a tissue. Now, I knew when I hit to be an old lady. And that was the day I sneezed and coughed into my tissue and I stuck it in my sleeve.
I know.
All right, I said, oh my gosh, I'm old. I can't believe I just did that. Okay? What am I going to reuse it and now stuff it up on this sleeve, right? And who does this? Okay? 13-year-olds don't do this. They go like this and throw it away. Yeah, it's when you get older, you've got to save that tissue. So Ted has assured me the tissues are not expensive. He does not mind spending extra money buying extra tissues. Use the tissues and throw it away after you can. Sometimes we have to hold on to it till we find a trash receptacle, but we want to make sure we throw it away. Don't save it. So that's one way we can stop that portal of exit. The mode of transmission, if we stay a distance from each other, even if someone does cough and sneeze, you decrease your risk of breathing it in. Portal of entry, if you're caring for a resident or going in to deliver something to a resident or clean a resident's room and they're coughing, you can ask them to put on a mask, and if they don't want to, we can put on a mask. It's okay for us to do this. They're in very short supply now, so I don't want to see everybody walking around with the mask because it's not going to be beneficial, and then when we need them, it's going to be tough. I just ordered more. I can't get them. I got a call from 3 hospitals today alone asking for masks. They're out of them. So we need them because people are hoarding them with the toilet paper. So, and then be as healthy as you can be, and this is hard, especially, like I said, stress is hard. Kids are home. Where am I going to get daycare? What am I going to do? My mom goes to adult daycare because she has Alzheimer's. Now I got to take care of her and my kids, and I got to go to work. Work together. Maybe you could say to your friend, you know, I'll work Tuesday if you watch the kids, and you work Wednesday, and I'll watch the kids and work together. Work weekends when maybe a partner's home and they can watch the kids. It's really working collaboratively, not just in the community here, but in our community outside. It's working together. And all you have to do is one of these things, and it will help stop. And so when you're hearing on the news talking about stop the spread of the disease, yes, closing airports and schools and such like that will help, but this is really what we want to do. How do we stop that portal of exit, portal of entry? That's something we can all do. Hand washing is the number one. Hand wash, hand wash, hand wash. What do we need to do? Hand wash. Hand wash. So always, if it's dirty, you want to wash your hand. Okay? I've got something on my hand. I can see that. I don't want to use the gel because it's just going to smear it all over the place. This is the time I want to wash my hand. Okay? Before and after glove use, that is the proper way that you need to wash your hands before you put gloves on, and wash hands 30 seconds. The front of the hands, the back of the hands, in between the hands, thumbs, up here if you wear a watch, make sure you move that because germs get caught in that, rings, big rings and things like that. You tell infection control nurse, no rings, no jewelry, not because I don't like pretty things, it's just not at work. Use soap and water and wash for 30 seconds. I know the CDC says 20 seconds, you want to hear that, but remember, we do outstanding, we do a little bit better because 30 seconds is, 20 is good, 30, and trust me, is better. So we're all going to practice washing hands. Turn on the sink. We're using our imaginations, we're in school. Turn on the sink, put your hands in, and we're going to wash for 30 seconds. You guys tell me when you think 30 seconds is up. And no cheating.
Just set a timer.
Happy birthday to you. You belong in the zoo. You smell like an elephant. And you look like 1, 2. Guess what? 30 seconds isn't up yet, guys.
Oh my.
It's not.
No.
No, it's not.
Now it is. That's why I do this, because we all say, oh, I know, you wash your hands, you sing happy birthday twice, and that's 30 seconds. We don't do it very often. So even though hand washing is actually the best way to kill pathogens, because we don't always do it effectively, alcohol use is the preferred method if you, because you have no choice, because it takes 30 seconds to dry. This doesn't count, okay? It doesn't work. You can't wipe it down. You have to keep rubbing until it's dry. It takes about 30 seconds. Once it's dry, your hands are sanitized, okay? So try and do that. You're going to see them posted, the alcohol, you're used to it, they're everywhere. Try to get in the habit every time you walk past one, you do one. Make sure when you wash your hands, you use tepid water. It's warm water. You don't want to use hot water because that dries your skin out, it cracks it, and that increases your risks of infection. So we want to make sure that we use the hand rub the proper way, and it's the exact same way as washing hands, okay? It's just not under running water. And did you know that germs on your hands actually grow faster in the gloves? And it makes sense. How many times have we taken gloves off and they're sweaty? Right? So when we have gloves on, say I'm cleaning somebody's bathroom. Of course I'm going to wear gloves cleaning a bathroom. And I'm going to clean the toilet. I'm going to take my gloves off, throw them away, wash my hands, put clean gloves on before I wash the sink. Because I don't want to move the germs from here to here. We also have to remember that germs are not always visible. We rarely see the germs. I'm using this just as an example. So how do you take gloves off? Does anybody know? Show me.
You do this.
So everybody's doing this. What's
Yes.
happening?
Yes.
The germ is there.
Inside.
So really what you want to do is pull from the inside, like this. Now my hand is clean. I can go under, okay? So that's an important part. Now I do this because you can see the germs, but if I had cleaned a toilet, most likely you're not going to have the soiled gloves, and I put germs all over me that I didn't even know. And then if I just go in and do a quick wash, because I'm in a hurry, I got to get to the next one, that's still hanging out there. And the thing with the coronavirus, one of the reasons why it's a little scary is because we don't know how long that can linger on a surface, okay? Now we know that HIV dies in about 30 seconds. That disease can't live outside of your blood. But hepatitis can sit there for 6 weeks. C. diff, which causes diarrhea, can sit there for 6 months if it's not cleaned properly.
I thought I read in one of the medical articles the germ can only last the virus 48 hours on the surface.
The coronavirus.
Yeah.
And they've changed that. It could be 30 days now. They're updating it, and they're getting their information from research in China. And so nothing is confirmed, and this is why it's scary. We're not quite sure when is it most can be transpired. When can that happen? Is it before you're sick, while you're sick, after you're sick? Now they're thinking some people who recovered can pass it on even though they're feeling healthy. It's called shedding the virus. So that's why everybody is taking such great precautions, and why you're hearing on the news to stock up for a month or so, because we don't know if people are going to be quarantined for that long, and that's why people are panicking, okay? But understand that there's not enough toilet paper for every person in the world to have a month's supply in their house, okay? So when you're cleaning a surface, you want to make sure that you follow what's called the contact time. And these, whether you buy it at home or here, it tells you how long it takes to kill the germs. You can read it on here, it tells you how long. So, as I said, we know that some of them are 2 minutes, some are longer. So we're going to leave it like this. We are not going to then get a paper towel to speed things up because I want to sit down and dry it. Because if I dry it, I didn't give it long enough. And that's how sometimes germs sit for a long time. Even though we're cleaning it, we're not really disinfecting it. So when you use wipes, whether at home or here, whatever you wipe, let it air dry. When it's dry, just like the alcohol in your hands, when it's dry, it's complete. And the germs are killed. Okay? So we want to make sure that we're not wearing gloves. I picked up a trash barrel, I put it in the bin. Now I'm in the elevator and I'm touching the elevator buttons. Now I'm spreading germs. Whenever you're done with the dirty task, if you notice, I took my gloves off immediately. I don't even think about it. When I'm done with whatever it is I was doing, gloves come off. I might have to go through a box of gloves in a day doing my work, and that's okay. You know, we'd rather buy them and they're not in short supply right now. So environmental cleaning, that's what I'm talking about, surfaces. Now I know somebody complained today about these tables being dirty when they came in for training. And I simply said, well, get a wipe and clean it. You know, I know environmental services is here and housekeeping is here to do that, but can you imagine how hard they are working right now? Especially because we over at Pines Edge are kind of borrowing them a little bit to make sure all these high-touch areas are clean, so we can all wipe down the table. We can all wipe down our offices. I don't have housekeeping come in and clean my computer and wipe my desk. I can take care of my own stuff. I'm not so entitled. They are busy taking care of our residents, just like you guys are busy taking care of residents.
Are we providing with wipes for different options? We don't have any wipes now.
No, I buy my own food. In an office, I buy my own. In healthcare, in the nursing home, we have to use regulated products. But no, you certainly can bring in your own. But make sure that you're not bringing in something that's bleach and you're bringing in something that's ammonia, because then we're all going to have a different kind of respiratory reactions. Okay, so ask Cass and see if he has it. We're trying to up all of the cleaning supplies, hand sanitizers, and things of that nature. If you find a soap dispenser empty, please report it immediately. We've got to get the soap in there, because what good is washing your hands if you don't have the things that you need? So I already talked about the contact time. Respiratory hygiene, like I said, use tissues, your arm, anything to stop that spread. And yes, you can go home, and if you're fever-free for 24 hours without medication, that's when you can come back. You can't take, well, I have a fever, take Tylenol. If your fever goes down, and say, I can go to work, I don't have a fever, okay? You can't be on the medication and have a fever. And also think about things. I didn't think about it. I went and had my shingles vaccination last night. I just happened to be in the pharmacy, and I said, you guys giving it? No, well, I'm waiting, you might as well give it to me. And one of the side effects of that is an increased temperature. So I went, oh shoot, that wasn't the smartest time to go get this, because we're taking temperatures of everybody over at Pines Edge to make sure they're healthy before coming in and taking care of our residents. So does anybody have questions, whether it's work-related, virus-related, what to do? Just, again, I can't say enough that everybody needs to take that extra moment with our residents. They're sitting in front of that TV, obsessed with this. We need to get them out talking about some things. When you walk in, even if they say, what's the latest on the coronavirus, you can just say, those earrings are gorgeous you have on. And wow, did you cook something? It smells nice in here. Anything to change it. Because remember, now we don't have sports on TV. We can't go out. People are being limited in where they're going out. So their worlds are becoming smaller and smaller. This virus is taking over their lives. Spend 5 minutes talking with the resident. Encourage them to smile and joy, because it can be very glooming, and they don't realize that they're getting depressed and stressed from this. So we all can do that to help our residents. Everybody can do that. All right. Anything else? You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for everything you do. Thank you.